Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another video review of To Benight and Beguile, Book 7, Chapter 14. Money doesn't always talk, so this begins at the hospital with Dr. Ward and Dr. Jordan talking to Celeste Deviney Lord, who is Jacob's wife. Remember, Jacob had a heart attack, so you have Dr. Ward dealing with the media. He's the veteran, and he tells the media, "Hey, this is a hospital. Uh, you know, you gotta lay down the law, right? You gotta put your foot down." And he does a good job of that. You also have a reminder too, if you've been following this story along like I have. You have a reminder of that. Celeste has not forgotten where she has come from. Not at all. Um, the note that Philip leaves her about, hey, stay strong, hold on to hope. Um, she, he prays for Jacob's recovery, uh, for her and for Fabian. And, this reminds Celeste what she's done. She betrayed Philip. She has not forgotten who she is. She's a kind person, and she's going to do kind things to the people who have been kind to her, who have always tried to be kind to her. Um, Evie is one of those people too. I mean, so we'll see how far her kindness goes. I don't think this is a character, in my opinion, who has forgotten where she's come from. I'll get into Nurse Daniel Holton here in a moment, but I wanted to touch on Celeste first because here's this woman whose husband who has had a heart attack, and she's going to do the right thing. She starts going down that road with telling Daniel Holton, this is why I saved Danielle for second. So I saved Danielle for a second. Celeste tells Danielle, hey, Caspian remembers he's your dad. He knows he's your dad. She tells him how and what, all that stuff. So you have that conversation. Danielle then goes to Nick, who's checking on Ashia, and she goes, hey, Nick. He knows. Caspian knows. And yeah, Nick knew too, because he was there at Terramore, updating Celeste on, Jonathan, her brother. Nick is Nick pulling double duty? In a kind of sense, he is. He's not at the sanitarium. Remember, the sanitarium in the hospital are connected to one another. They're in the same building. So he can go over and check on somebody if he wants to, because he used to work in that area. They're having a psychiatrist come from San Francisco. He had not arrived yet. I touched upon this in the previous video, but I'll retouch upon it here because it's important. He had checked on Jonathan, and he told Celeste, hey, I'm not over there, but I will pop in and check on him. That's the least I can do. Because he doesn't have a psychiatrist yet. We're kind of short staffed over there anyway, and they're sort of short staffed on doctors. They don't have a lot of psychiatrists over there, so they have one coming for him, and so he's explaining all this. I bring that up because he's explaining, why he was at Terramore House to Daniel Holton. And there's been a natural attraction between Danielle and Nick, Nicholas Jordan. And they share a kiss. And as they share a kiss, Ashia has awoken from her coma to see this. The next part is, Timothy is yelling at Eden, hey, you should have pressed hard. You should have did this. He's condoning it. He's not happy with Eden's performance as an attorney. And Eden tells him, hey, the judge, if I object to every little thing there, with a kid, the judge is going to tear me to pieces. Eden is not Sidney Eden is not a dumb man. Or Eden Sidney, sorry. He is not a dumb man. He is not a dumb attorney. He knows what the law is and what can and can't be done in the court of it. And here you have Timothy confessing to him, hey, I bribed the judge. And, Eden can't believe it. Eden just looks at him just like, really? Like, no. But you also learn here, though he bribed the judge refuses the bribe. And Timothy gets even mad further and says, just call me to the stand. Eden has been warned. He warned him before he ever took this case. You need proof that these three are witches. He also said, do not. He basically, in a lot of ways, told him not to fall on this. In every way, there was a chapter called, I think, "Fall on Your Sword" or "Don't Fall on Your Sword." I think it was "Fall on." Eden warned Tim not to fall on the sword here, because you have to prove witchcraft, and they haven't really done that yet. Now, have they disproved it? We'll see. But very, very great character interaction here between Eden and Timothy. Because you have two people who, Eden is about the law. Timothy is trying to corrupt the law, and is unsuccessful. And the judge says, hey, tell him I wish him luck. He's going to need it, My favorite interaction of this chapter, Aurora and Caspian, because it's been long overdue. And you have Caspian having these headaches. But Aurora is trying to tell him what happened with Ashia, what she did, what her and Gregory did. Nick learning about it, but Caspian's getting the headaches again. Caspian realizes Aurora is a kind enough person he can trust her to take him to see the doctor. She's not looking to have him committed. So he goes with her. And to learn, also too, it helps, he's going to learn more about what happened. Because again, she's trying to tell him he's having these headaches. And these like seismic headaches. I mean, they're bad. They're really bad. Chris and Sebastian, Christopher Weasley, who is the who is David Lord, or the reincarnation of David Lord. Sebastian tells him, I don't know Christopher Weasley. He goes, well, then why don't we be friends? Let's be friends. The big question mark is with Christopher / David, what will he do when it comes to Jacob? What will become of him? What is he? What's going to be his point of, okay, this is my plan of action? We'll see. Again, Christopher has learned everything about Sebastian. He knows everything. Sebastian is a vampire. You have somebody who has to live in darkness now. And Sebastian accepting the friendship. Because it's not, you gotta understand, Sebastian is living in a world where he knows friendship can be, if you become friends with the wrong person, he's learned this very much with Jacqueline, it can be a double-edged sword. Jacqueline has been a very interesting. I will say this: Jacqueline has been a very interesting lesson for Sebastian, most of all. I know some people might say Evie, and I wouldn't disagree, but I would say Sebastian most of all. Evie too. Evie's learned that many times over. Of be careful who you trust, be careful who you become friends with. Sebastian has learned that too, but he lives in another side of the world of, hey, be careful who you become friends with. Be careful who you form relationships with. Be careful who you trust. It can be very, very dangerous. And I think that's really, really amazing. I read this 3 times, man. Very, very good. Book 7, chapter 14, Money Doesn't Always Talk. And I think, too, you have what I was telling this to John when I was messaging him. I said, I can sort of tell you're setting up for the next book here. And he is. You can sort of tell here there's little setups for there's little setups here or there for the next book, and it's going to be really interesting to see where a lot of these characters go post trial and post everything that's going to happen. Really, really curious. I think that's the best thing about a writer. You know, the best writers will make you curious about what's coming. And John definitely does that 1000%. He also does, I've mentioned this before, he does a great job of taking you there, taking you to Welshport Island. He has described that island in detail, the sea around it, the Gothic-like mansion of the lords, the small village, the cobblestone streets. Really great character, not just character description, but placement description of where you are within the story, of where you're at location wise. It's like a little map in your head that he puts, and I think that is amazing. All right, guys, link to Benight and Beguile is going to be in the description box. Later tonight, maybe tomorrow. Actually, no, I'm going to do this tomorrow. What would I, as a writer, do with the Halloween franchise? All right, you guys have a good one.